Hello and welcome to TB3 University, Episode 6, your spot for all things Florida college football. And let's go. Let's talk about it. The team of choice, our team, our hometown Tampa Bay team. Back. I loved it when they had it written on the back of the helmets, but nowadays, come to Tampa's all right too, or whatever it is. But we're going to talk USF first because we love them a lot.
Man, you know what I don't love?
What?
I'm starting this off. I don't love Miami fans.
Yeah,
Classless fan base.
As I was doing the intro, I'm like, we're not talking about Miami, though. Those they don't matter.
Ugh, hate those guys, man. So, if you guys weren't aware, I was at the USF Miami game on Saturday night. I almost said Sunday because Raymond James, that's imprinted in my brain. Saturday night, I was at the game. I was with Will. Will is actually not here because he is sick. The Miami fans, they spread their germs and their trashness to Miami, or to Will. That is actually not even a joke because we had Miami fans behind us, and they were trying to fight us. We weren't doing anything. You guys know we're a Christian-based podcast. We're not starting any fights. You know, we're just rooting. No language, nothing. We're just rooting. Not even looking at these people trying to start fights with us. That's another thing. And then, you know, they're throwing up because they're drunk. You know, Miami fans. You know, that's about what they're made of. You know. Classless fan base. So that's my opinion on Miami. And, you know, I'm going to come out and say this, Joel. I might shock you. I think a lot of, you know, some of the listeners, you know, they know that I am born and raised a Florida fan. I've adopted USF as one of my, you know, 1A, 1B team. When Miami plays Florida State, I will be rooting for Florida State.
Wow.
That's how much I despise Miami fans, and they're classless. I hate them. I don't like them. They stink. They are soft, and I know they're watching this right now. I don't like you guys. You're classless. You're a bunch of 40-year-old people that never went to the University of Miami, that's never been to an actual home game. You just go to away games, and you have one good team in years of being irrelevant, and you don't know how to act. So I'm sick of you guys. I hope you got a good team. You know what? I'm not going to be delusional. I know Miami has a really good team. They're probably going to go 12-0 in the ACC play and beyond. They're probably going to go to the college football playoff. Cam Ward's a great quarterback. I get it. You got a good team. Act like you've been there. If you're such a storied franchise, whatever, act like you've been there. Don't act like idiots at a game that you're not even the home team for. And don't act like that when you don't even show up to your own home games. So that was pretty ridiculous to me. Not a huge fan of Miami. Miami fans, if Will was here, he would add on, but he's sick. Like we said, throw up all around our area. It's hard to stay healthy when you got Miami fans around you. Also, okay, before we get into the game, we're on the atmosphere. I will have to say, USF fans, good and bad job on Saturday. I think as for showing up, good job, man. I will still say that I think there was more USF fans than there were Miami fans, and I think that was pretty evident. If you went to the game and you think that was wrong, please let us know in the comments. We'll feel free to have a discussion. But in my opinion, I think there's more USF fans than Miami fans. Cool. However, I do think USF fans, student section, you know, people just in general, if you're a USF fan, got to be a little bit louder. This is kind of the same thing we talk about with, you know, Tampa Bay Rays situation. You know, fans that are coming from opposing teams, coming to an away stadium, they're going to be rowdy. You have to be able to match them. So definitely would like to see kind of the culture between, you know, USF fans for games, you know, improve, get a little bit louder, get that noise, you know, in the game when they're on defense, when stuff happens, get that up, you know, be a little bit louder than they were on Saturday. But as for showing up, I commend you. Good job, USF fans. So good and bad on that front.
Yeah, I think that's something that all of Tampa Bay fans need to learn. It's like you hear people coming through from like New England and the Northeast, and they're like, "You Tampa fans don't know how to be loud." It's like, it's just our culture. Like, but we as Tampa Bay fans, we gotta be loud.
Yeah, and we can be loud without being
obnoxious.
And I think that Tampa fans do a good job of not being obnoxious, and I think that's not just a bias thing. I think
we have to find the happy medium.
We have to find the happy medium, being a little bit louder, but staying not obnoxious, because I appreciate that of Tampa fans. You know, I'm like, you know, me and Will, we're getting a little heated, and first off, we thought about, you know, the fact that, you know, we're children of God. We don't want to show off that. But second off, it's like we're Tampa fans. We're not supposed to stoop to these guys' levels.
It's hard because they expect us to stoop. Like I've come to the
want
point
to
where I'm
stoop.
like,
They were yelling in my ear when stuff happened. They were quiet when, there was an interception or Brian Brown caught a touchdown pass. When Gramatica nailed 2 50-yard field goals. They were quiet when that happened. But they were yelling in my ear. Then, they were staring down. They were yelling when players got hurt, booing them because they thought the players were faking injury, even though they were on offense. Definitely a bold move, but they're Miami fans. You can't really expect much brains out of them.
Yeah, this is their first time in a while. Like they'll get better at this. It's okay.
Maybe
they put. I saw a stat somewhere of how bad Miami's been since like Warren Sapp was there, and it was so ugly. Like I think it was like 2003 to now. Like even Colby may have sent it or something. I don't have it in front of me, but it was so ugly.
Yeah, it's brutal, man. It's just
it's the Detroit Lions. They're the Detroit Lions. They're like,
yeah.
How do we do this again?
Yeah.
Let's be annoying.
Amen. And as for the game, we'll get into it because it was not a good game for the USF Bulls. I think all of us expected better, and it started in the first half. USF, man, they had a 15-14 lead late in the first half, but it started to unravel after that as the Miami Hurricanes would get a big, long touchdown pass that would kind of break the game open. They would go up 22-15. USF would try to drive down and get a field goal before halftime, but they would miss that kick with John Cannon. Very unfortunate. And then USF would end up getting shut out in the rest of the second half. Not a good performance, and this is kind of the second time we've seen in USF losses where they started strong, but the wheels kind of fell off the car at the end. So that's unfortunate to see. As for, what killed them, the rushing game, USF was very heavily outmatched. Miami ran for 188 yards rushing, and USF only ran for 62 yards. This Alex Golesh offense is so predicated on the rushing attack, and it just was not there. Miami, Will said it, I said it. Apparently, we don't give Miami credit, but whatever. Miami has a good defensive line, and they shut down the Bulls' rushing attack. Only 62 yards. We just said that. Joyner didn't have much room. Byron Brown, 14 carries. I think it was 27 yards. Not a lot of space for Byron Brown. He ran for 100 plus against Alabama, so that was pretty frustrating. I was spot on. 14 carries, 27 yards for Byron Brown. So the rushing attack was not good on the other side. The Miami offensive line, as the game went on and on, started to impose their will, and they ran for 188 yards. And USF's defense, I would say, was the biggest problem here. USF, they struggled in the second half to score, but USF really only got 2 legitimate stops the entire game. If you take out, drives where Miami took a knee, there was only 2 stops by the USF defense. One was an interception, off the hands of a receiver right to a USF player on third down. You could say that was lucky. It was. And then there was one where they made Miami punt. That was, based off a review play where Cam Ward was barely down before he made a miraculous lateral pass. But yeah, USF's defense was not good. 0 sacks for the USF defensive line or their linebackers or their safety. The blitzing was not getting home, and only 3 tackles for loss. This is not the same USF defense we saw against Alabama, and it was evident they just were not able to, affect Cam Ward. He looked calm as a cucumber out there in the pocket, weren't able to affect him. And, that made him pay. Cam Ward went for over 400 yards passing. So, yeah, this was really not an acceptable, game for the USF or for the USF Bulls. Just really bad, man. You get 50-pieced at home. Miami's a good team. We said that, but this is not the effort and the capabilities that this USF team is capable of playing.
I wonder if part of this was like experiencing what they experienced with Alabama, kind of falling to them early on. Like if some of that was in the back of their mind, like of course they had a game to recoup and all those kind of things, but then some of this just going down in the first quarter. Sorry, and they're like, are we gonna have the same experience this week too? So it's just like both these games weighing down upon them. Like they're just trying to find that big win, and they haven't found it yet.
She's saying the moment was a little bit too big for them.
Yeah, the moment was too big, and then they still have some of the scars from Alabama.
Understandable. I do think that this game was kind of a measuring stick to show that USF really they're still a year away. They really are. I think that Coach Golesh has these guys going in the right direction, but they're not at the point where they're a team that the power conference teams really should fear. I mean, 2 close games against Alabama, I get it, but Alabama pulls away at the end, and then Miami really pulls away through the whole second half, and it kind of just shows that USF, they're lacking depth, they're lacking execution. Penalties kill them. USF 7 for 17 on third down, while Miami is 7 for 10. That's where the game's won, man, and you just can't get off the field, and you can't stay on the field. And that's where, a good team with an experienced quarterback differs from, an average team with a less experienced quarterback, with a team with a lot of people that have not been there before, with a team with less depth. I think depth is hurting USF, and it's something that they need to work on, because part of the reason why, they're losing all their steam is not just, mental. It's physical, man. You get tired. They're playing really, really hard in these games. And I don't think Golesh feels like he can play his full roster, so the depth has to improve for this USF Bulls team.
Yeah, because this was another game where we saw a lot of cramping, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of injuries, a lot of cramping. Byron Brown went down.
Oh, that was scary.
Yeah, hoping he'll be back, because he didn't return into the game, but the game was already over. It was no reason to put Byron Brown back in the game. So hoping he's all right.
Did he go out 2 times? Because I thought I remembered they were.
He did.
Yeah. Yes. I remember the first one. The first one was like, oh no.
Yeah, that was. He was down. I think he got the wind knocked out.
He went out for at least one.
Yeah, he
play. And I think they were in scoring position, so it was
yes,
oh man.
It was in the red zone.
Yeah.
That did suck. Yeah, red zone execution still a problem. USF kicked, what was it, 3 field goals in the first half?
So many.
Yeah.
5.
No, they scored a touchdown.
One of those was a touchdown, no extra point. Okay.
Yeah, it was touchdown with that extra point, and then 3 field goals. Yeah, 3 field goals in the first half. 2 of them were drives that were in the red zone. You're playing against a good team. You had momentum. You have to be able to turn that into 7 points, and they were not able to do that in this game. It was just a frustrating game, man. It just was, like I said, a measuring stick to show that USF really just isn't, at the place we want them to be. I mean, a lot of us, wanted to believe that USF would go, 11-1, 12-0, even 10-2, which is still on the table, but it seems very, very difficult at this point. A lot of us wanted to see USF do that this year, with Byron Brown, be like a Group of 5 college football playoff contender. And at this point, I just don't think they are right now. And that could change as the season goes on, as they get more experience. But it's pretty evident that this team's not there. And, at some point, you're going to have to pull off this big win. I mean, USF hasn't beat a team that ended the season with a winning record. And, I think it was 2 or 3 years, and they still haven't this year.
It's been since their last era of success.
Yeah, so USF has to find a way to get that big win. And they have an opportunity this weekend, unless you got anything else on this Miami game.
Had something. Oh, man, I forgot it.
Sean Atkins, 11 catches, 125 yards, and a passing touchdown. Best game of the season for him. Love him. Miami corners could not guard him. They could not hold Sean Atkins. He was cooking them all night.
Yeah. The thing I was going to say is, I said this last week going into this game, that it would be an audition for the ACC. So it's kind of sad to come out with this result. So the ACC is going to remember us as the puny little team who didn't put up a fight against Miami. So that's sad, but hopefully that's not the takeaway that the ACC committee, whatever that looks like, is taken away from this.
Yeah, I do think you can't really, as for conference realignment, you can't really look into actual games on the field. You got to look at where a program is, and there's no denying USF's on the rise.
But I mean, like
stadium.
that's like
but it is.
It's like if they were going to go into play Miami as an ACC team, like in the conference, like if this is what it's going to look like.
Well, Miami is like the best ACC team by a mile too. And the good news is Miami's on the schedule next year. They go to Miami next year.
Okay, it's on one of those.
Yeah, so we might need to make a road trip.
Ooh, that'd be kind of cool. I haven't been to the new Dolphin Stadium yet.
Yeah, I'll go. That'd be fun.
I was in Miami this weekend, and I sported my Bulls shirt. I was like, win or lose, I'm going to sport this Bulls shirt. And one person did notice I was wearing it, and they were like, hey, USF's pretty good. Like, that was a good game. I was like, that's a Miami fan I respect.
See, there was a couple Miami fans I talked to that were pretty cool. Talked to them in the bathroom at Raymond James. Talked to them about, their stadium situation and their fan situation. And as a Rays fan, I can pity and come from their point of view, and I get it.
Ironically, I was at the Marlins Stadium where the conversation came up. And the Marlins Stadium, fun fact, is where the Orange Bowl used to be, the former home of the Miami Hurricanes.
Wow. It's a circle.
Useless knowledge.
It's like poetry. It rhymes. Yeah, so USF, not on the level to beat Miami, but they start conference play. The rest of their games are going to be conference games, 8 straight to end the year. And it starts off with one of the better teams in the conference, a team that has been, on the cusp of being ranked, a team that's had a lot of success, but they lost their coach, and that's the Tulane Green Wave. The USF will travel to New Orleans, hopefully, unless the hurricane takes that game out. I don't know. We'll see. Stay safe, everyone, in the hurricane. USF travels to Tulane, who also is 2-2 and has 2 losses against Power 5 teams. Tulane played Kansas State and lost 34-27, and then they lost to Oklahoma 34-19. Both teams that I would say are not as good as Miami or Alabama, not really even close in my opinion. And right now, Tulane has a young new starting quarterback. His name is Darian Mensah. And the last couple of games, he has struggled. He's been less than 200 passing yards in both of those games. One of them was against Oklahoma, and one of them was against my good friend Billy Napier's old team, Louisiana Raging Cajuns. And that was a game that Tulane really struggled in. They only won by 1 score. And, this definitely is not the Tulane team that we saw a couple years ago with, Michael Pratt and I can't remember that coach's name. He's at Houston now. So, yeah, this is still a good game. This will still be – Tulane will probably be one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the conference. It's a road game. And USF has to focus on stopping the Tulane rushing attack. Tulane averages 192 rushing yards per game going into this game. And on the flip side, Tulane's rushing defense has not been great, as in the 2 bigger games Tulane played. Kansas State and Oklahoma both had more than 180 yards rushing against Tulane. So it's going to be key. Which team runs the ball better is going to have a huge part in this game. Do you have anything else, Joel?
Yeah, just USF can't come into this game licking their wounds. Like it's a fresh week. You're on the same playing level as this team. Just got to find a way to move on.
Yeah, there can't be a letdown. This is conference play. These are the games you have to win. One of the better teams in your conference, you have to come out ready to play. I think USF has a better roster. You're on the road. You got to beat Tulane. I don't know. I don't feel confident in it, but I really, 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 I don't know. I want USF to win. I do. I really do.
I think this week I have to pick them to lose.
Yeah, I think so too, man. As for keys of the game, just real quick, a couple things. Defense, if they want to win, they got to get back to sacking, tackles for loss, making turnovers. That's what they lived off the first 3 weeks. Did not do much of it against Miami. Byron Brown, I think both young quarterbacks, but I think Byron Brown is the better quarterback, and he has to show that this game. I think his passing was much better against Miami. I think that was one of the brighter spots about this game was Byron Brown was accurate and making the right reads in the passing game. Third downs, did a pretty good job, but the rushing game was non-existent, so Bulls offense wasn't able to succeed. But Byron Brown has to be a better quarterback, and I think I'm with you, Joel. Joel, you're picking USF to lose. What's your final score?
27-24. I'm going close.
USF lose 27-24. I unfortunately kind of.
You feeling a blowout?
I'm feeling a USF loss though. I think Tulane's gonna win 38-31. I want to back the Bulls, man, but I don't like what I saw from last week, and I think there's gonna be a little bit of a hangover, and.
That's a tough stadium to play in too. Like
yeah,
you never want to play in the Superdome like that.
Well, they don't play in the Superdome.
They don't play in the Superdome.
No, they have
anymore?
their own stadium.
Good for them. It's probably been like 7 years. It's like last I checked on Tulane, they were still in the Superdome.
I don't have a score from Will, but Will thinks USF's gonna win. So good for Will. We got 1 out of 3 picking the USF Bulls, but I think me and Joel are both rocking with Tulane. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And we'll move on, quickly to your Florida Gators. This is a team that played Mississippi State on the road, and they pulled off a win, 45-28. The Gators win.
Tulane's been in their new football stadium since 2004.
Okay.
It's like when I was 16 and I remembered a lot of stuff about Tulane. They were in the Superdome.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Florida beat Mississippi State 45-28. Both the quarterbacks played pretty well. The script for this game was Graham Mertz was going to play the first and second drive, and DJ Lagway played the third. Very odd, but they stuck with it. I don't know, but I guess it kind of worked. Graham Mertz 19 for 21, 201 yards, 3 touchdowns. DJ Lagway 9 for 9, 76 yards. Both led touchdown drives, and the offense was really good, 45 points. Nothing really to complain on that side. I think it's what we wanted to see. Billy Napier used the vertical passing attack, and it worked. And I was pretty okay with his play calling for the first time in a while. I thought, nothing wrong with that. I still am very, very concerned about this Gators defense led by Ron Roberts and Austin Armstrong. They allowed Mississippi State, a team that just got blown out by Toledo, to run for 240 yards. Mississippi State, man, there was a run in that second half where they really just couldn't be stopped. The Tempo offense was messing with the Gators. And nothing about what I saw on Saturday really encouraged me into thinking that, this Gator season might go differently than, what we're expecting. I want to believe, man. I really do. I want to think that, Florida's going to, rattle off. They got UCF, Kentucky coming up. I want to think that maybe they'll rattle off a couple wins in a row. But I don't know, man. The rushing defense and the defense as a whole is just really not good. And it starts with the defensive line and the linebackers and the defensive play calling. It's just not good, man. And if the Gators have a bye week coming up, they got to get better at stopping the run.
This is an awkward relationship for you right now with your Gators.
Yes, it is an awkward relationship. This was Florida's first conference win since October of last year against South Carolina. One more note on the game. 10 different players caught a pass for the Gators. So, again, offense, I'm feeling good. Joel, would you want to elaborate on why it's an awkward situation for my Gators?
So, I was thinking about this, and I brought this up so much last year. Back when I was a Todd Bowles hater. And maybe I'll be a hater next week for Todd Bowles, but we'll see. I mean, right now.
Check out episode
58.
57. Check it out. We talked Bucks.
Oh, yeah. And come to episode 58 to see if I hate Todd Bowles.
Yes.
That's what I was implying.
Great trailer.
So, every week last year when Todd Bowles would get a win, I'd be like, it's just prolonging him being fired. Like he's going to be so easily fired if he just keeps losing. And it's going to be good if he gets fired. Like, the Bucks will be able to finally move on, find their new guy, start a new era, post Tom Brady, all those kind of things. And every time he'd win, it's like, oh, great. Now the likelihood of him getting fired keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then when they were kind of on the cusps of the playoffs and they might not make it, I was like, let's not make the playoffs. We got to get rid of Todd Bowles. And I feel the same way right now with the Florida Gators head coach. It's like when they get these wins, these pity little wins, it's like, no, we have to fire him. We have to move on. It's time for a new man to arise.
I kind of agree with you, especially on Billy Napier. Todd Bowles is a different thing. That's for the main episodes. But I agree with the comparison. Billy Napier.
He bought himself a week.
He bought himself a week, and he bought himself 2 weeks. He's got a bye week.
Oh, true.
Bought himself a 2-for-1 special. Bought
himself a game. Bought himself 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2-for-1 special. But in all seriousness, Billy Napier. I mean, I'm a Florida diehard. I want these guys to, win as much as they can. I want them to succeed. I want all these players. I want this coaching staff to succeed. But I look at this win, and I think this might be the last win the Gators have this season.
Ooh,
and I really don't want it to be like that. But I just, nothing about what happened in this game made me think that, the Gators are going to be able to solve some of the problems they've had early on in the season.
I don't know. Since Will's not on the show, I'll say they could be Florida State.
That might be their most winnable game. That or like Kentucky at home. Like it really is. It's sad. I want them to beat UCF so badly. I hate UCF fans are like, they're not number one on the power rankings for fans I don't like, because Miami fans are number one and like probably, yeah.
They're definitely like
they're top five.
They're probably number 2 worst college football fans.
Oh my
in
gosh!
Florida.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They stink.
I mean, they're so annoying. Like they're like, oh yeah, we're going to the bounce house tonight. You guys want to come to the bounce house? We're gonna go watch the UCF Knights get their second national title.
National championship. Whatever.
Yep.
I'm so glad you said that. I hate those guys. But yeah, I want to win that game, but I don't have a lot of confidence. But in all seriousness, it just feels like Billy Napier, just the earlier you fire him, the earlier you can start, planting the seeds for, other coaches, the big names, start going. You get a Gator guy going to Ole Miss to see what Lane Kiffin's all about. You start talking to John Gruden.
Ooh, that's true, yeah.
Bill Belichick, do you want to come coach college? Maybe that. Nick Saban, do you love your job on College Game Day, or do you want to come back? But all seriousness,
not only that, what I thought you were talking about was like as these Florida players start going to these other schools and start kind of getting recruited by these other coaches because their coach sucks so much, they're all going to hit the transfer portal.
Yeah, that too. We'll have to see. You can't transfer mid-season.
You can't, but it's like next year. It's like, ho, I can't wait to transfer to Ole Miss because my team sucked so bad second to last week of the season, and that coach buttered me up.
Yeah, so it is like, maybe if you do it early, you can kind of save some of these players, save some of the recruits, save DJ Lagway. That's the biggest thing. You got to keep him around. It really, really is key. So I don't know. I think Billy Napier saved his job. I want to be wrong. I want to see the Gators, win 4 more games, get to a bowl game, get a couple big wins, and Billy Napier, is riding off in the sunset, and we're thinking, wow, this guy's going to do special things with DJ Lagway. I want that to happen so badly.
I mean, it happened with Todd Bowles, so just maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, when he came in, everybody was like, "Oh, this guy's going to save the Gators. He's going to put them on the right path." So maybe this is just the sad part of the story.
I really hope so, but I don't have a lot of faith just because of his lack of football IQ.
Lack of success.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the awkward situation. Is it better for Florida to win, or is it better for them to lose right now? And it's a weird feeling as a Florida Gators fan.
Looking at their schedule, though, he's going to get fired soon. I'm over here looking at him like, woohoo!
Yeah.
SEC is on its way.
Yeah, and the really good SEC teams. Yeah, that was why we were all like, you got to start like 5-1 if you want to have a successful season, and then they're 2-0, so whatever. Oh, and enough. All would have been better if they would have just beaten Miami. I hate Miami fans. Did I mention that? I
don't think I heard that one.
Okay, well, I don't like Miami fans. I'm talking to you in the comment section.
Ooh, I wasn't going to do that. He did it. I wasn't going to do it. I like you guys.
Well, I like the nice comments. I like all my Instagram comments I love, and some of the YouTube comments, but if you're a Miami fan in our YouTube comments, I'm not a huge fan of you.
Thanks for giving us a viewership.
Oh, yeah, I guess I like that. I mean, yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you, Miami fans. You guys rock. Nope. Bye week for the Gators. Nothing going on, so we'll move on to the other Florida team who picked up their first win on Saturday.
I guess I was wrong. I'll admit it.
I knew this was going to happen. I knew the moment I didn't pick FSU, they were going to win.
That's
but
funny.
I was like, I can't go another week not picking FSU and they lose. Like it's just too, it's just not who I am. But I knew this was going to happen. So Will's happy. He's rejoicing. Florida State,
thrilling game.
Hey,
woo! 14 points.
It was a pitcher's duel, man.
Pitcher's duel. That's right.
But yeah, so Florida State, they beat the California Golden Bears at home 14-9. And by all regards, this was a much better game for Florida State. They were able to move the ball. They had 284 total yards, 107 yards rushing. That's a lot better improvement from what they had recently. 7 for 17 on third down, not too bad. And offensively they were solid. This was it was a struggle. DJU did throw an interception. Happens. That's what DJU does. But what really helped FSU was the defensive line. Their defensive line came up with 7 sacks. Not just the defensive line, their defense, but 7 sacks on Saturday against Cal and 12 tackles for loss. So I'm looking at, Marvin Jones Jr., all these guys, they came out and they played well. Cal did not score a touchdown. This is a huge win. Get the monkey off your back. You're on the board. And, we're going to leave it to my friend Will here. So, All right. Okay. Let me think. Let me
We
find
should
it
we
here.
should have done like an audio message.
So, Florida State finally had a pulse on Saturday, which gives me some hope going forward. Run game definitely looked way better, but mistakes and turnovers need to be fixed. If the offense didn't turn the ball over so many times, you could feel somewhat confident the team can turn it around, as the defense last week gave up 7 points outside of turnovers against Memphis and 9 points this week against California. If the offense can get going, FSU could be on the right track with how well their defense played this last Saturday. So Will's feeling a little bit hopeful. Okay. Pass rush was huge. Josh Farmer and Marvin Jones Jr. were huge in the pass rush. Alex Atkins was back this week, their offensive coordinator, who was suspended. Offense definitely looked a little bit better. Will doesn't know if it was a stark difference, but they're 1-0 with Atkins, and they're 0-3 without Alex Atkins on the sidelines. So you can't argue with the results. FSU was able to get one of their offensive lines, Hakeem Williams, back, which really helped them. We are Bucs fans. We can see how much losing a starting offensive lineman can hurt your team. Darius Washington is another offensive lineman that they have been missing, and if he comes back, the sky might be the limit for this team. No. Hakeem Williams and Darius Washington both are back. Jeremiah Byers is the guy that has not come back. Sorry, not an FSU fan. Just trying to be unbiased. That's Will's thoughts on FSU. And this kind of goes back to what Will was saying. Last week against Memphis, it wasn't pretty. The offense wasn't great, but they had a lot of mistakes and turnovers, and they kind of cut those turnovers in this game, and they were able to win. So I think you kind of see the route of how FSU can win. It's through defense and playing smart football. Do you feel, Joel? Do you feel confident that FSU can take that route and win? How many more games do you think FSU can win this season?
I'd say probably 3. I think 3 games.
3 more games. So you're still not high on them.
I'm just looking at the schedule. Like it's still pretty scary. Like they face a handful of ACC teams. Like they play like Charleston. I'm assuming this is Charleston Southern. Yeah, like they play Charleston Southern. Like that's definitely a win. So there's a handful. I'd say 2 or 3 more wins.
All right, so Will's still not high, or Joel's still not high. I think FSU can make a bowl game. I think they can get 5 more wins. But you got to feel a little bit better if you're FSU fans. Sorry, our FSU insider is not here. We're trying our best. I was at the USF game, so I did not catch any of the FSU game because I was at the USF game trying to fend off stupid Miami fans.
I mean, they play like Clemson, Duke, Miami.
Clemson looks good now.
North Carolina, Notre Dame, and then Florida. And I think I just said Florida's beating the Seminoles. Like, sorry to jump ship, but I gotta. So
Florida State, I think coming up, SMU is definitely a winnable game.
FSU's putting up some points. So like I was just looking at that.
Yeah, they did. They scored 66 on TCU. But their
and I know TCU's not that great, but it's like, ooh, okay, 66 points.
Clemson, that's a tough game. At Duke, that should be, I think that's a game FSU should win. Duke's 4-0, but they're not beating really any impressive teams. At Miami, I hope FSU wins. I already came out and said that.
That'd be good.
That'll be North Carolina at home. North Carolina just let James Madison score 70 points on them. I think FSU will win that game. Notre Dame on the road, I don't think so. Charleston Southern, yes. Florida, perhaps. So that'd be what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So that would get
5.
That would get them the bowl.
Give them somewhere in between the 4 to 6 win range. They might upset one of those teams, but they also might lose one of those fringe games. So I would say 4 to 6 wins for them in the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think for me 4 is their ceiling.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Really?
feeling a little low on them right now.
Hey, that happens. So FSU is going at their first road game. No, well, technically first road game. They did play in Ireland. But first true road game, Southern Methodist University, SMU Mustangs, new ACC team that is 3-1. They, like we just said, they scored 66 on TCU. SMU did lose at home to BYU, but that's looking like a pretty good team they played.
Yeah.
Now a top 25 team. SMU did, and they beat Nevada and Houston Christian. Joe, how do you feel about this game?
I was trying to see, have they beaten an ACC team yet? They lost to Boston.
No, they haven't played a conference game yet.
This will be.
Or wait.
So,
FSU or
no, I was saying SMU. They
S-
lost to Boston College. Have they played an ACC team yet?
SMU hasn't lost to Boston College. They've lost to
I'm sorry. I'm looking.
That's
okay.
BYU. So no, they have
And then
not played.
also this is something that they're showing me from last year for some reason.
That is weird.
Thanks ESPN.
That is weird. Yeah, SMU is 3-1. They lost to BYU. They've beaten TCU.
Yeah, that was their bowl.
This is their first.
I was gonna say that was their bowl game. I'm like, why is they showing me
this
that?
This is their first ACC game.
Wow.
In their history at home.
Oh, that'd be fun. Florida, like, give them a little like greeting, like, "Hello, this is the ACC. We're gonna kick your butt."
Is that what you think?
No, I think it's gonna go the other way around. I think it's gonna be like, "Hey, Florida State, we're SMU. We're a loser. We got kicked out of a Power 5 conference years ago, and we're gonna hand you a loss."
SMU's dangerous in this NIL era because I saw a video. They got a lot of oil money. Their boosters got oil money, so they might end up being good out of nowhere.
That'd be
just
fun.
Because it'll be well they got in trouble
Yeah.
for paying players back in the day, so now you can do it.
Yeah, they're like, we've been doing this for years.
I think FSU is gonna win this week. Give me FSU. Low scoring game, 17-13. What does Williams say?
Either way, it's gonna be a historic moment for SMU.
Yeah, there you go. Florida State beats SMU 16-13 according to Will Sturts.
Small scoring.
Yeah, low scoring games, man. FSU is a defensive team. All right. We're gonna recap the week 4 slate real quick. Couple good games, man. I mean, Michigan, defends the big house against USC. I will say you picked against Michigan, and a couple weeks before, you were all on Michigan.
I was gonna say, how could I ever not?
You jumped off the bandwagon at the wrong time.
I was like, when I would have never picked against Michigan. I must have been quick firing.
You jumped off the bandwagon.
Sorry, Michigan.
They beat USC. That was a good game, really good game. I was watching it in the sun at Raymond James.
I think I do remember. I was like, you know what? I got to go USC. I do remember doing that now.
Early slate, Clemson blows out NC State. NC State looks like not very good, and Clemson looks a lot better since that Georgia game. So that'll be interesting to see how they fare in ACC play. And then probably the biggest game of the weekend, Utah and Oklahoma State. Probably the battle for maybe the two best teams in the Big 12. The Big 12 has a lot of questions and not a lot of answers because just wild stuff going on. Oklahoma State would lose at home to Utah 22-19. Cam Rising didn't even play. So Utah, I think, might be your best team in the Big 12. But, I mean, just crazy game. Physical, old-school-looking football game, Both.
Yeah.
That was.
I caught a little bit of that game.
Yeah, that was a good game. Utah, that game played right into Utah's hands. Oklahoma State never got their tempo going. They never got Ollie Gordon going. And Utah dictated that game, and they won it.
Yeah, Oklahoma tried to mount a comeback. It just didn't work.
Yeah. And then the other team in the state of Oklahoma, Tennessee and Oklahoma. Oklahoma had their first ever SEC game, and they had a welcome to the SEC moment, losing 25-15 to Nico Imalavole. Still can't say his name. Sorry, guys. And the Tennessee Volunteers. Honestly, Oklahoma hung a little bit tougher than I expected them to. Defense kind of slowed down Nico. So maybe there's a blueprint to stop Tennessee. They're going to have some big games coming up. I know they play Alabama. I think they play Georgia too. So that'll be interesting. They play the Gators. That's going to be a tough game.
Oh, yeah.
Nope.
They got Arkansas next week, and then Kentucky, Alabama, and Georgia.
Yeah. Alabama and Georgia back-to-back weeks. That is back-to-back games
for
at least.
Texas, it's I'm at Texas. As I looked at it,
wrong UT.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, another Big 12. What is going on? BYU smokes Kansas State, a team that I was really high on. I thought maybe they were going to be the best team in the Big 12, maybe giving Utah a run for the money, and they just got smoked in Provo at night. That's kind of one of those places. BYU at night in a big game is kind of magical. So you gotta account for that. But that was just, I don't know, crazy. Friday night. You catch any of this Friday night game? Illinois
to clarify,
Nebraska?
Oklahoma does not have Georgia.
I'm talking about Tennessee, man.
I thought we were talking about Oklahoma had a tough schedule or whatever. Tennessee
plays Georgia and Alabama to end the season. They play Alabama at home, and then they play later on. They play Georgia on the road.
Yeah, they'll lose some of those.
They will, for sure. Illinois beats Nebraska on the road in overtime. Very impressive win. Illinois, we'll get to them later coming up, but Illinois looks like a good team. Luke Altmaier, former Ole Miss legend, he looks pretty good. And also, Colorado won the craziest game of the week.
They seem to do that sometimes. They either lose crazy or win crazy.
They tied it on a Hail Mary, and then they won in overtime off a fumble out of the end zone.
Wow.
38-31 over Baylor. Crazy stuff.
What time was that game at?
It was like an 8 p.m. game and ended like 11.
I feel like I was gonna say it's at the 10 p.m.
It did feel like a 10.
I was gonna say the 10 p.m. games are their crazy ones.
Yeah, no, that did feel like a 10 p.m. game. I did not catch that game. I was really mad. Watched some of the highlights, but yeah, that was a crazy game. Looking ahead, week 5. Are you ready for some rapid fire picks, Joel?
I'm loading. I am.
All right, Friday night. You know, my favorite team for this week, Virginia Tech, plays Miami. Again, I don't like Miami or their fans. Really not a fan of them. But Virginia Tech, you know, they lost their Vandy week 1. They lost to Rutgers last week.
They're definitely not playing spoiler.
Yeah, they're not. So Miami wins that game. Man.
I love a nice little centralized spot like that. Like, sit down, everybody, watch this game.
The Friday night games have been really fun this year.
They figured it out.
Yeah, I've been loving that. Saturday we have Kentucky going to Ole Miss. You thinking Kentucky can pull off an upset? I do not think that.
No.
I think Ole Miss wins that game. Another Big 12 matchup. 2 teams that lost last week looking for a bounce-back win. Oklahoma State heads to Kansas State, ranked matchup 20 versus 23. I'm going to say Kansas State wins at home. But again, the Big 12, what's going on, guys? I don't understand it, and it's confusing to me.
I'll pick against Kansas State.
Oklahoma State? You got Oklahoma State on the road?
I picked Kansas State the other day, and I don't know if it paid off or not. But sorry, Josh Freeman. I'm going Oklahoma.
Sorry, Josh Freeman. BYU, first game being ranked, goes to Baylor, the team that lost to Colorado. Honestly, Big 12 so random. Give me Baylor to upset BYU.
I'll go BYU.
All right.
I'll stick to the higher percentage.
Okay. Interesting matchup. Weird Big 10 matchup. Wisconsin at USC. 3:30 CBS. Okay, hold up.
2024 college football.
I have to say, so funny. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson calling a Big 10 game on CBS. Oh, I thought it was hilarious, man. I missed the CBS music for SEC, but I am not a big Gary Danielson fan. So him having to call, actually that was a good game, but some boring, white guys blocking in the trenches, Big 10 football, it was funny to me. And Will said this. Will said Gary Danielson is the Chris Collinsworth of college football, and it's a great comparison. Both not fan of both of them. Wisconsin or USC? Sorry, my CBS tangent.
No, I loved it. USC just beat Michigan, so that must be pretty good.
They lost to Michigan.
Oh crap!
You picked them to beat Michigan.
Stupid Michigan! You're supposed to win.
USC bounce back.
Yes. I don't feel like I've ever seen Wisconsin win a game with my own eyes. So, yeah.
I got USC too at home. 3:30 game on the West Coast. Interesting. Just interesting stuff. This is a game I think you'll like. Notre Dame hosts Louisville. 16 versus 15. Notre Dame at home. Are you rolling with the Fighting Irish?
I'm gonna go Louisville.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Notre Dame.
Louisville is like the thorn in my side. Like they always win when I don't want them to.
I like Louisville. Like I would like to see Louisville win this game, but I think Notre Dame's gonna win it at home.
I'm gonna stick with Louisville.
That's a fun game.
It is.
3:30. It's on Peacock though.
Oh, that's an easy one. It's like if you don't have cable, just do like their $1.99 plan or whatever.
You heard it from her first. Oklahoma goes to on their first road SEC game to Auburn to face a team that is struggling mightily. Auburn's making a quarterback change. Do they pull an upset off at home?
No, because Oklahoma lost last week, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so they're mad. They're gonna go in with a vengeance.
I don't think Oklahoma's good. Give me Auburn at home. New quarterback, new vibes. Auburn wins. Jordan Hare welcomes the Sooners with a loss. This has always been a fun game for me. Texas A&M, Arkansas. They play this game at AT&T Stadium in Dallas. It's central from A&M to Arkansas. It's always a fun atmosphere. Jerry Jones, Arkansas alumni. Bet you guys didn't know that. You probably did, but now you know. So, neutral site, Arkansas, Texas A&M. Give me the Aggies, Texas A&M. Arkansas looks pretty good, though.
I always want Arkansas to win, so I gotta go Arkansas.
All right. Okay. Speaking of the Bounce House hosts the Colorado Buffaloes. A game that I kind of considered going to, but I don't think I'm going to make it to. A little sad about that. Colorado at UCF. Give me the Shadur. UCF loses.
That's a fun game.
That's a fun game.
I'm going Colorado.
Man, 3:30, man.
That's
If
fun.
I'm checking on and the tickets are reasonable, I might have to make a drive to Orlando. I might have to do it. That is a fun game. That will be exciting for sure.
It's just going to be like an atmosphere.
It will. One of the greatest rivalries in basketball on the football field, North Carolina at Duke. Two pretty mediocre teams. Duke's at home. Give me Duke.
Yeah, I'm picking Duke because I just said that they could beat the Seminoles. So
yeah, they got to prove it.
Yeah, so I got to stand by what I'm thinking.
Ohio State at Michigan State. Michigan State almost beat Boston College this week. That was an interesting game. And I think Michigan State's on the right track. Do I think that they'll beat Ohio State? No, I do not. But Ohio State's 24-point favorites. I think Michigan State will cover.
Okay. I would go Ohio as well. Yeah.
Okay, another crazy conference matchup. Stanford at Clemson for an ACC game.
I don't like this. Like I thought I wouldn't care, but I don't like it. It's weird.
It's a little weird. Give me Clemson. I think they win easily. But dude, Stanford beat Syracuse. And I thought Syracuse was good. The ACC doesn't make sense either.
I mean, it's like Florida State's bad. It's like ACC's just
Miami's
all
good
over.
for the first time ever.
It's true. It's like there's a weird thing going in the ACC right now. I'm gonna go Stanford.
Wow. Okay. Upset alert. I like it.
Just bet, doing it with my heart.
All right. So we get to the premier matchup of the weekend. A really good one. We have number 2 Georgia at number 4 Alabama. Early season SEC teams that always seem to play each other in the SEC championship. Ooh, man. This is a great game.
I don't like either team, but it is a fun. It's like the Red Sox
awesome.
Yankees.
Yeah.
It's like you gotta watch it.
Give me Bama. At home, give me Bama. Hate Georgia.
I'm gonna go Georgia.
All right, we're split.
I saw like one of the things of like all the results of these games over the last like 10 years, and it was pretty cool. Like just how evenly played this series is.
All right. Whiteout game. Penn State hosts a hot Illinois team who's beaten 2 ranked teams already. Will they make it a third on the road? Penn State hosts Illinois. Joel.
Penn State.
Oh, I know you love Penn State. I think Penn State wins too. It's a whiteout game. They can't lose a whiteout game.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, it's kind of how it is.
Home game, like you're not gonna lose that.
All right, Joel. I know you're gonna love this. We have 3 good late night games.
Oh, yes.
Washington State 4-0. The Cougars go to number 25 Boise State.
Boise State wins it on the blue field.
Yes, I love that. Honestly, that's a game to pay attention to as USF fans because if you still think that USF can win out and be 10-2, you want Boise State to lose this game because they're another, Group of 5 playoff contender. Aston Genty, though, what a player. Actually, give me Washington State, man. 4-0, the Pac-2 redemption story. Come on, give me Washington State. This is a future conference matchup, I'm pretty sure. Then we head down to another good late-night game. Utah hosts Arizona. Arizona got kind of embarrassed against Kansas State in their first Big 12 game. Can they bounce back at Utah?
No.
I don't think so either. I think Utah wins. And then Oregon goes to UCLA as a Big 10 matchup. Not Pac-12, Big 10 matchup, Oregon at UCLA. Man, that makes me feel icky, bro. I don't like that.
Yeah, I forgot the UCLA moved. That one's weird. Because
They
they moved with USC, right? It was a partnership, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I hate Oregon so much that I'm willing to be wrong. I'm going to pick UCLA.
Oregon wins and they smoke them.
They're
I'm on the Oregon train.
They're gonna win, but I just want to be on record saying that
Hey, you'll get
I hate Oregon enough to be wrong and pick UCLA.
UCLA played LSU really good this week at LSU across the country. So
That's an 11 o'clock game.
yeah,
That's crazy.
that's awesome. I love it. So it's only 8 p.m. though there. So
Yeah,
you still get Pac-12 after dark.
It's like you are. You're staying up till like 2 a.m. for that game.
That's still waking up for church in the morning. All right. Comment down below. Do you guys think the USF Bulls will bounce back and beat Tulane? I don't think I gave you guys these times, but this weekend, your games, Florida, bye week, no game. USF, they're playing at noon at Tulane, ESPNU, 12 o'clock, USF at Tulane, ESPNU. And then Florida State, they're at 8 p.m. on the ACC network at SMU. So they're at different times. That's all we can ask for as TB3. Hunker down, watch some college football. Unless you're a Miami fan, then I hope you sit on thorns. Thank you guys for watching. Comment down below. Will USF pull this upset off? Or, yeah, will they win? Will they, bounce back? Do you guys think it's better that Florida wins or that they lose so Billy Napier gets fired? Are you guys believing in FSU again? Let us know in the comments. Like the video. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter/X. 5 stars on Spotify. Follow us. And please, and thank you, have a beautiful and blessed night.